Yeah, you can go ahead and ask your doubt now.
Yeah, I've been part of your Telegram group, and watched many videos of the automation stuff and all. It was really good. Thanks, first of all. It's a great thing. So beyond certain level, you always used to go, and whenever you teach something, like you used to give lot of inputs.
Yeah.
So that really appreciated things. So I used to get personally pinged you to get some. So since you're busy, though, you used to respond back to me whenever you have time. That's a great thing. Thank you. And another thing is I have a question. So so I didn't automate such a big framework, but I got a chance to work for a few selling automation programmability framework. So I did as my own, by seeing the videos and trying the thing.
Yeah.
So my question is if I want to learn lot of typical scenarios or complex scenarios, I want to create my own good framework. So how should I start? Where and all I need to go to get some GitHub framework repository from others, like was there in the market, like you have some other who's good in that automation. So how to do that? How did you started your career? How you explored? Since you know, sorry to interrupt you. You've never been into that. I see you like a discipline as like a mechanical engineering. So since you moved to here, you're doing good. So how you did that? So
Okay. So it's a very interesting question, right? So for me, I did my biological in my matriculations, and then I did mechanical in my bachelor's, and then end up as a manual tester in Cognizant. So I have literally no background from computer science. So I think most of my learnings, I didn't work in a team so that I can learn from my seniors. If there is some good automation testers, I could have learned from them. But I was part of a manual testing team, and most of my seniors are also involved in manual testing. So I didn't got enough opportunity to learn from the work or on the work learning. So most of my learning comes from of the work. So I learned everything on my own. Yes, the initial days I struggled. It wasn't really easy for me to start with the automation. But yeah, once I started to watch a lot of Java developers videos and read some books regarding Java, I get to know the real basics. And so most of the learnings comes from going into the Java code itself, right? Let's say there is a string class, so I go inside the string class and see how these developers have written it. I dig deeper into the TestNG libraries. I go inside those libraries and I see how these people code. Let's say about external reports. I will not just use the external reports. I'll go to their GitHub code. I'll see how well they are coding, why they have used this way. I try to do a little bit of analysis from my side. For some I get answers, for some I don't. But yeah, it's slowly you'll get to know, you can improve your coding skills. So most of the learnings come from these libraries. So and again, to your question, to exactly answer your question, you don't have to think about complex scenarios in automation. You can learn it on the code. Let's say you are given a task to automate some tricky website. You can learn it when there is a need. You can Google and do it. So it is not a big deal. So what I would suggest is try to focus more on how you can write scalable readable code, understand the real basics, when we should use constructor, when we should use getters and setters, what is immutability, what is the problem with mutabilities. So these are all very basic stuffs that we need to be very careful. So once you thorough with this basics, I think Selenium related, automation related problems can come, and then it takes a little bit of googling and then solving it. So I don't think that's a big problem. So focus on writing clean code. Try to read some good books on clean code. What is interface, when we have to use this interface, what are the design patterns, how can I write, these kind of things are very important, right? So yeah.
Thank you. It's a great explanation. Yeah, thank you. And one more thing, I think many of our participants were there, so they might have more questions. This is my last question. Thing is how you're managing your time, from work, to create a content, and some Udemy courses. This is very, I always used to wonder by seeing the people how they're managing the time. So share your inputs.
Yeah, I think it is really tough. I'm not gonna say it is easy. Let's say some of the things that I used to do, like watching test match from first ball to the last ball, I stopped doing all that. Even the IPL, I stopped watching the IPL, not entirely. Like, I don't watch the full match, maybe the highlights just after the match completes or the next day. So these things don't go, they don't go anywhere, right? So I just have to sacrifice some of these, in order to make videos. Let's say I spend 1 hour making video, I have to spend 2 hours creating the content for that, and then I need to prepare thumbnail, uploading process, and all that. So it takes another 2 or 3 hours. So if I make a video of 1 hour, it will take at least 4 hours of my time. So I have to sacrifice some of my things that I normally did, which I feel, which I haven't, which I feel, those are not really important for me now. So I started sacrificing them so I could get some time in making these videos.
Thank you. Thanks. Like, you've been doing great, really. So I'm not taking, telling this for a namesake or something. Like, you've been really good, doing good. So keep the same thing. And thank you. Like, yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Ganesh. I think I also see some chat. Congrats on your new job. How do you manage timings? Your remote job, like, I work for a US based startup, and my startup doesn't bother me. They don't ask me to work on US timings. We have an automation team split across and multiple location across the globe. So we work on our Indian time. So I prefer working from 7 a.m. to, like, let's say 5 or 4 p.m. in the evening. And so there is no problem with my work related stuff. Yeah. Yes, it's better you can unmute yourself and then ask your questions, because there are a lot of people. I might miss your messages as well. Anyone have any other questions?
Yeah, with it. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for this meetup. Actually, I have so many questions, but the first question I would like to know is, like, nowadays in companies, they are asking for functional as well as automation engineers.
Yeah.
Means they should work on both the technologies or both the stuff.
Yeah.
So earlier, one of my project was something like that, but I realized that when we are handling two roles,
Yeah.
majority of the time is spent on manual or functional testing,
Yeah.
and we get very less time towards automation. So,
Yeah.
what do you have? Means, what's your take on this? Like, if we should join such a role, or we should
I
ask for
think,
more of?
I'm kind of a guy who might not answer very diplomatically, because I feel what I say what I feel, right? So in my opinion, even if people give me manual work, I do it. Even people give me Excel work, I do it. At the end of the day, all I need is money from the job, and then a good work-life balance. As long as they don't disturb me in these two things, I should be happy to work on whatever the task they give. If they can give me, they can ask me to write unit tests, they can ask me to work on, let's say, DevOps related tools, automation, manual testing, whatever you give, I'll do it. Because I was there not to tell my boss, you have to give me this work. That's not how things work. That I won't take that way, right? Say, if my company is paying me really good salary, and also allows me to enjoy a good work life balance, that's all I expect from it. All the learnings apart from that, I have to, let's say, if there is a new technology like AWS, Docker, that I want to learn, I have to put my efforts to learn it off the job, right? I cannot expect everything coming from the job. So that's how I see it.
Yes, great. That was a great opinion. Thanks for the answer.
Yeah, thank you. Any other question?
Hi, Amatan.
Yeah, hi guys.
So first of all, I need to. I owe you a big thanks, because that course, Selenium, Docker, it is a wonderful thing. I have a couple of concepts to cover, but it gives a refreshing mindset what I had, and unlearning the process what I have done, and there are so many doubts which got clear. First of all, thank you for that. So my question here is, like, so we have lot of tools coming up, like Cypress, Playwright, whatever many tools are coming in. So I'm a person who is looking into, like, European markets as well. So you ask Python, Selenium, Cypress. Cypress is more common over there.
Yeah.
So do you have any idea on that, how you deal with it and how we can tackle like this jobs?
Yeah, I think for me, I know about Cypress, or I know about WebDriver IO, but I cannot. I'm not a really good expert, in those tools. So for me, I'm not trying to learn multiple languages. This is just me, right? So some people like to learn multiple languages learn multiple different tools in different languages. But for me, I think I have a lot to learn in Java itself. I'm I'm spending a lot of time learning a lot of new Java libraries, trying to improve the way how I code. And then for me, Selenium, APM, and Rest Assured are the three big pillars. I know, I can code in Kotlin, I can understand Python or JavaScript or TypeScript codes, but that's not coming naturally to me. So I stick to what I do the best, and I try to find jobs what suits my skill set. So instead of jumping onto multiple tools, I prefer this way. Again, I'm not telling this is the best way, but if you are really good with in whatever the language you feel comfortable, I think you can get any job. So I think most of the companies don't restrict you on writing code in a particular language during interview process or any coding rounds. So I think that should be fine. You can pick up a new language when there is a real need. But for me, I go with this. So I feel Java is my preferred language, and I use that.
Thank you. And just one more question, one last question. So when they give you take-home assignments kind of things in interviews, so how do you submit this to the push into GitHub? Is there any
Yeah, so
instructions
there are
or
some
best practices?
yeah, some best practices. What I would suggest is, let's say if you are trying to tap Europe market, try to write some unit test. Okay, start to read books like Clean Code from Robert C. Martin, Head First from Java related books. And then because these people expect you to write some readable quality code, right? It's not the same as Indian market. In India, you can find people trying to open browsers, do whatever they want. They don't care about compositions, they don't care about any principles or readability or maintainability. But that's not the case in other countries. So they expect you to write very clean code, very simple code. So what I would suggest is, try to create a good readme file, try to dockerize your solution, write some unit test, provide reasonings for your architecture. Let's say you have a framework, explain why you have chosen this way. And if you are pushing the code in GitHub, make a clear git log. So how you approach the problem, let's say, don't just do one single commit and then flush all the code into the GitHub remote repository. It doesn't work out that way. So we always look for let's say how you approach the problem, how you design the framework. Those things are really really important. And then if you are pushing it into GitHub actions, let's say have sonar code quality checks, okay, like sonar cube, and then unit test as part of GitHub actions. And then you can run your test on GitHub actions. You can create some GitHub actions template, whatever you could showcase all of them. So don't try to restrict yourself into a very simple framework. So you can do a little bit more about dockerizing the solution, writing unit test, sonar code quality checks, and all that, a proper readme file, installation guide. These kind of things are really really important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amal. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah, hi.
hello, Amitan. Aniket this side.
Hey, Aniket. Yeah.
So my question is to you. Like, I don't know whether he's already taken the question or not.
Okay.
The question is that, like, what is your thought according to Playwright and Selenium?
I don't know. It just, let's say, the comparison itself, something that I don't like. Let's say we have a problem at hand, right? We try to pick some of the best tools that can solve the problems. Even Playwright, is booming in the market. Selenium's been there for a decade now. A lot of people who know Selenium really, really well. So I'm not, ready to judge which tool is best. But if there is a need, we can learn Playwright because it has different bindings as well. So yeah, it's not a good way to compare two tools. Based on the problems you choose, based on the skill set of the people that you have. If you already have people with Selenium expertise, I don't see a necessity to move to Playwright. But let's say you have people who are very comfortable using Playwright, are ready to explore it, then you can choose Playwright. But it doesn't going to solve some of the new problems, because uh, we have lived like a decade without the Playwright. Nothing happened, right? Selenium has done its best. So I think it's not good to judge what is the best tool, but whatever that suits your team, needs, I think you should pick that too.
Thank you. Hi, Mithun.
Hi, Amudan. Natraj here.
Yeah.
Amudan, I have around 14 years of experience in testing now.
Yeah.
Started with the MNC. Hello.
Yeah.
I started with an MNC. Now, after 13 years, I resigned the company and worked in another company.
Okay.
So my question is I try to learn the automation tools. Most of my career went with manual testing. In this 14 years, around 12 plus went with manual.
Okay.
But I learned automation. But I cleared the interview with automation.
Okay.
But still, I'm working on manual.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm not sure if I can keep pace with the people with 6 or 7 years of experience. They do more of automations. Now is it better I can move to test management roles a manager or something, or though I learn automation regularly, but still I feel that there is a gap. I not able to cope up with might be who is new to automation, right? Working for 6 or 7 years, and myself around 13 plus. And so what is your?
So I think the experience, comparing experience or old days, let's say people started to ignore these experiences nowadays. People start, I see people with 8 years of experience were working as an engineering manager role. So experience shouldn't come into the picture. If you really want to learn automation, I think you should pursue towards it. Age and experience doesn't really matter. So you can still compete with them if you work really well on your basics and the programming language. Then I'm sure you can cope up. So let's say if you think you could not solve it, if you think automation is not your cup of tea, then prefer to explore on Docker, Kubernetes, AWS. These kind of things are also needed. Let's say they don't need very big programming knowledge, but a real understanding on how systems work. So I think you also can go ahead and do it. But as a test automation manager or test manager, you should know at least basics, right? If someone is coming and telling you, right, say this test case will take 10 days of time, right?
Yeah.
You should know it will not take 10 days of time, right? If you don't know anything about automation, then it is very tough. It is very tough to lead an automation team. So better to learn it. You don't have to really code like an SDET, but at least you should know how things operate, all that thing. I'm telling you, this is not really big deal. So you can learn it in 3 to 6 months.
It's we keep learning of them, but once we move to the company, right? We thought I assumed it will be of automation, but still we are doing it manually. Very less test cases are written and maintained in Selenium.
Sure.
But for the recruitment process, they keep asking automation. But still, after entering
every company has their own needs, right? So when people hire new talents and they don't want people with manual testing skills, not just with manual testing skills. Just because, let's say tomorrow after 6 months down the lane, they want to do some automation, they don't know what to do with the current team. They cannot kick you out because you don't know automation. So teams are started to hire for the future. They don't hire to solve the current problem. They are hiring to solve the future problem. So I think we should not blame the company as long as they providing you right salary and then right work-life balance. This is my way of dealing things. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
But my question here is, hi. So should we stay with that company? Because ultimately, if we stay with that company, so our skills will get deteriorated, right? Suppose I am an automation engineer, but if I continue to work as a manual testing engineer, ultimately my skills will get deteriorated to Selenium. So my question is, should we stay with that company, or should we look for a change for a better roles where we can fit into automation roles?
Okay, so this is a very tricky question, right? It changes from person to person, and there cannot be one ideal answer for this question. But in my perspective, let's say you are switching the job because you are not given an automation thing, and then you switch a new job and then you go there. You get to work on automation, but they are asking you to work for 10 to 12 hours or 13 hours per day. Or you don't get automation again in the new company, you are again given a manual testing work. So there are multiple things you need to consider. So On the job learning is very, very small. In my previous company, I was doing a lot of manual testing and very less of automation. So I didn't complain because, I know I can learn off the job. So try to get more off the job learnings, try to do some freelancing projects, try to do one-to-one trainings, right? These kind of things can, help you to, grow your knowledge manifold. Let's say you work on a project, you see only one framework, you get to solve only one problems. But let's say you are doing a freelancing work, right? You get to see a lot of different frameworks, lot of code written by a lot of people. So you tend to see a lot of code, you learn a lot of things. So I think off the job learning is great, is big than the on the job learning. So don't complain. In my perspective, stick with the company as long as they are paying you really good salary and giving you good work life.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Again,
Yeah, hi,
this may
Amudan.
not be
Praveen
an
here.
ideal answer, Sagil, but just my opinion of how I see things.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, Amudan.
Yeah.
Praveen
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Amudan, my question is like how to get a freelance job or like a remote jobs like as you are doing right now. So like how can we approach it, Amudan?
So there are websites like Upwork, where you can go and showcase. Let's say you want to. There are websites like freelancing websites like Upwork, where you can go and register yourself, showcase your talents, and then you can get some attention. But in order to get that attention, I think you have to do something, right? Let's say you build a GitHub profile, or you start writing Medium blogs, or you create a YouTube channel. So these kind of things brings you more attention, rather than you. Let's say I go and apply for a freelancing job, and you go and apply for a freelancing job. You may be more talented than me, but people like to go with me because I have already showcased my work in some form, let's say in a GitHub, or maybe in a YouTube channel or somewhere other than this. So try to create a profile for yourself somewhere, so that you can showcase that and then get these kind of jobs, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other question?
Hi,
Yeah. Hi, Sujita.
hi, Amudan.
Hi.
Good evening. Like I'm having a 5 years of experience. I'm working in a manual testing,
Okay.
and in a recent time only I got the API automation opportunity, but I really wanted to move to automation.
Okay.
If we don't know also daily routine work, if automation means we can start learning.
Yeah.
If personally learning means it's very tough to difficult
Yeah.
to learn
It is
without a
difficult.
project, like not difficult. If we completely, if I don't know the automation also, if my project is only automation means
Mhm.
if I get a, I mean KT daily, I'm initially if it take 1 week, it's very difficult to do that work. If I start do the work repeatedly means it will easy to do that. If I am a manual tester, if I wanted to switch automation means uh, I need to personally browse, I mean automate any browser or some web applications only.
Okay.
It's
So yeah, I got your question. Let's say what I would suggest is
mm,
learning of the work. Let's say you are doing some manual testing activities. If your project is not doing automation, yes, it is
mm,
little tricky to start your automation journey. But
mm,
find a good friend of yours. Let's say at least you will have one automation friend. Try to connect with the and then check with him. Let's say we connect every day, 1 hour or 30 minutes every day. Start to scribble a few things about automation. Try to get started with API automation, understand the basics. Let's say I have a course on API in my website. So I'm going to publish that in YouTube. Like, let's say I'm planning to release every video, sorry, one video every week. So it can be a good starting point for you to get started with that automation. Let's say you want to learn Java Selenium automation basics. I think
Yes,
you
yes.
should try to get my Selenium course. I'm not trying to publish it, my course, but let's say there are a lot of people who attended that without even testing knowledge, so they could able to grasp a lot of Java concepts, and they're doing really really well. And one thing about my courses, if you are stuck somewhere, I'll be there for the one-to-one support. Let's say you don't like the course after you watch the whole videos and you feel, Amudan, I didn't learn anything from these videos, and then you ask me your money, I'll give you back. So as simple as that. So try to purchase that course and see and get started with it. I'm sure you can also learn or move into
Okay.
automation.
Okay, but like for the 90 days notice period people, it's a very tricky to get a offer. Is there any possible ideas?
So
To,
90 days, I think there are still companies, they are okay to accept 90 days. Let's say don't take risk. 90 days, use it for your advantage. Let's say get one offer from some company for 90
mm,
days, and then you try to bargain on top of it. But let's say, if you have right skills, people will wait for you. That's what I can say. There are companies that will ask for 1 or 15 days notice period, 1 month or 15 days notice period, but don't ignore those companies, because my last switch that I happened, the company have waited for me for 90 days. So if you are having really good skills,
mm,
uh, you
company
can
will
get,
wait.
yeah, company will wait. So not all of them, but at least if there are 100 companies, at least 30 of them will wait for you. Try to fetch an opportunity from that. So
Yeah, understood. Like I attended some few automation interviews. If the automation testing also, they are asking about like interior programming language, like programming data structures,
yeah,
algorithms, hash maps,
yeah.
like that.
Let's say don't worry about it. Let's say it's
Mm,
pretty common that I attended an interview and I get failed.
mm,
So the expectations from the interviews can be different from your skill sets. So you haven't
mm,
prepared for the DS and algos, and you
mm,
fail in this interview. Why do you care? Let's say you prepared for manual testing and you failed
mm,
in manual testing interview questions, then you should
mm.
worry about it. But let's say you didn't even prepare for DS and algos, and then you are worrying that you have failed in that. I think that makes no sense. So we are, if you are not prepared for that, don't worry about it. You clear some
No, no,
interviews.
I'm not worrying about that. Like in recent times, I'm telling they are like asking like that. I'm asking how to prepare like
I
that
think
one.
take take one step at a time. It's not all the companies were asking for DS and algos. Yes, there are
Mm,
companies asking for that, but
mm,
if you are a manual tester, I think you should actually try to
mm,
get into some automation or programming languages.
mm.
Get comfortable with that, and then slowly move on to data structure and algos. So I think that should be the way how you should approach now. So don't try to learn everything at once. You might not know which way to go. So for me, take one step, start to learn a programming language, then an automation tool, and then pick up DS and algos if you really need them.
Okay,
I think
thank you,
smooth.
Anu.
Two people have raised their hands. I think Gaurav, we can go first.
So thanks, Amudan. Just wanted to know a few things about the automation career. Like I switched from manual to automation and currently being doing the mobile testing.
Okay.
And I've also written a framework for iOS and Android.
Okay.
But when it comes to giving the interviews for companies like Mindtree, Wipro, Infosys, and all, they used to ask very basic questions, which we have studied in class 12, 11th and 12th when we were studying the OOPs and all.
Okay.
So my question is that do we have to really have to work upon those part, like how to do a reverse of an array, or how to copy one array from other, or how to copy a hash map into a object? So are these like questions which are very basic, and which, like if you talk about the automation part, like I do how to code the page object model.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to asking such type of question, this question loses my confidence, and I feel that I should either quit to automation or just switch to manual itself. So just give me a better suggestion. And
I think you should more. So the problem with us is we forget what we know and we worry about what we don't know. Let's
yes,
say I am not a really good data structural algo guy. Let's say if they ask me to invert a binary tree and all that, even I don't do it because I haven't prepared for that. So that is my core strengths. Let's say I go at writing programming language in Java. Let's say I use I know I can write a really good readable and scalable code, which most people don't. And
Yes.
so try to leverage your strengths. There are always times when you there are certain skill sets you don't have, so don't worry about it. Try to do what you do the best, and then try to showcase that in the interview. There are a couple of interviews that may go wrong, but I think you can get really good job. So maybe you can slowly learn DS and algos. I'm not telling don't learn it, but
Okay.
don't worry about it too much. Let's say if they're asking in that interview, it's their wish. They know what they are doing. Let's say companies like Amazon will definitely ask you DS and algos. They hire best engineers. They have certain criteria. So
Yes.
so it's their interview process. Let's say Amazon is not the only one company that is doing it. So there are other companies we can go. They pay more than Amazon. They don't ask DS and algos. So try to find a job there, and then you can also slowly learn about DS and algos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Definitely. Thanks,
Yeah,
Amudan.
yeah,
Thank you.
yes. Spurti, yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Amudan.
Yeah.
Nice to connect with you. Okay, I'm into manual and functional testing for close to 6 years, and I've recently come back from maternity break. So the thing is, I'm suddenly exposed to automation, and what is happening is for web automation, the team has already done in Puppeteer with the JS, JavaScript. But what is happening? They're just asking me to analyze the debug, the failure test cases, and things like that. But they're also introducing me to mobile automation, which is in Java and UI Espresso. So the thing is, first and foremost is I'm little new to automation, and I'm having a lot of apprehensions about coding. So can you please help me, where do I take my baby steps? Where do I start? And I have to balance both. I have to learn to little debug the failure cases, plus also get used to the framework. And I understand on the whole how automation works. I'm in my functional testing for a little long time, but I'm little getting scared and anxious about how to mingle with the team, with automation team basically. Yeah,
I
thanks.
think it's a quite tricky case. Let's say
Yeah.
Puppeteer with JS, even I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
it's going to be learning for me as well. And then you told Espresso. Even though I'm very comfortable with Java, I didn't work on Espresso really. So both of them are two different tools and two different languages.
Yeah.
So I think you should ask the team, try to put you into at least one for a period of time. Let's say 2 months or 3 months. They should either you should work on Espresso or the Puppeteer and JavaScript, because you cannot juggle both of the things, because both are two different things.
Yes. So initially they were asking me to just go through the debug, to just try and debug the failure cases for Puppeteer. But even for that, JavaScript is new to me, and JavaScript and Java is obviously not the same. So I cannot think that both are same concepts are also same. So that's why I was little bit in a anxious mode.
Yeah, I think
So
you should speak to your manager. Let's say if you are in my team, I will definitely not give you two things to juggle with.
Correct.
So
But even if
it
I
is
have
up
to
to the team.
start, what would your best suggestion be for me to start off with?
I think
Java is good.
Java
for
is
me to
better
start?
in my perspective, but JavaScript also is it's very easier than Java.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's up to you what you want to pick. If you ask a Java guy, he will definitely tell Java. So
Yeah.
so don't ask me,
Sure.
because I will definitely tell Java. So JavaScript is also getting getting a lot of attention with TypeScript.
Yeah.
So anything is fine, but just ask him just one. Ask your manager,
Yeah.
I want to work on at least one for a period of time. I don't want to
Correct.
juggle both, and speak to
Correct.
your manager. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Amudan.
Yeah. So Ilyas, you can ask your question. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Mudan.
Yeah.
This is Ilyas here. So my question is, look, so initially I'm working in the testing field for 1.5 years. So initially for the first 3 months, I have been assigned in the manual testing. So later then I've been assigned to automation. So initially, so the first project I have created the framework from scratch. So Java, using LDM Java. So and then successfully delivered the project to the client. So after that, so I came across to your Udemy, and then that essential library. So I have came across those and got to know some wonderful concepts and implemented in the second project which I'm working on now. So when I giving a demo to the internal team members, so they're asking the question like, so yes, so we have created the framework from the scratch for the previous project. So in that project, so you don't have implemented those concepts, so why are you trying to introduce here? So you can have the same framework without implementing this concept. So like that they are telling. So in case, so as you said in the every video, so you will be saying like, so to maintain an neat and readability code, so we just need to implement more and more libraries to the framework. So if I just had an opportunity, so I'm just moving to another MNC company. So in case if we move to MNC, so we probably there will be a group of testers, so like 10 to tester means, so they will be had a 3 to 4 automation testers. So the probably they will already had a framework, they may be purchased from it somewhere, or they have already created it. So in case, so if we learn those concepts to write a neat and better code, so how can we convince them to implement those in the companies, or we just need to adapt their already existing framework?
It is tricky, right? So let's say I know a lot of libraries, I write a lot of functional programming in Java, but sometimes I have to hold myself in writing complicated, or let's say unfamiliar code, right? So let's say people come and see my code, there is a lot of arrows, brackets, going here and there, people get confused. So there are some situations where you have to hold yourself, even though there is even better way to do it. If the team is not capable of doing it, maybe try to conduct some very small KT sessions within your team. And let's say you want to teach them why one library is good. Instead of writing code to read from property files, explain them one by one. Okay, handling different environments is easy with one. You have separations of concerns, you don't have to write a lot of code. The mapping happens automatically. So explain them via KT sessions, and then get them familiarized with what you do, right? If you throw them into new library, not many people will accept it, because they get fear, one, and two, they may not be in a position to accept you. So try to gel with them, conduct KT sessions, and then slowly tell them, we will try to use this in our framework so that we can avoid these problems. So that's how you have to approach it.
Okay, Amol. Thanks.
Satish can go next.
Hi, Muthan. Good evening.
Hi, Satish.
Yeah. Muthan, I have a question. Actually, like I'm into the automation team.
Yeah.
So we have a framework in right, like we read data from Excel.
Okay.
Like, and we have for one test case, right? We read data from multiple sheets actually. So to complete, I mean, it's a big, big test. I mean, there will be a lot of test prerequisites to complete one transaction.
Okay.
And each transaction, the flow will be different.
Okay.
So for that, what they are doing is like we are having an for each resource we are maintaining a test data sheet, and like we are trying to send row wise. I mean, let's say for each test, right?
Yeah, I can understand. Yeah.
So instead of that, right? So is there any better way to handle rather than handling each Excel data for each resource?
Okay, so the first thing is writing an end-to-end test may look really comfortable at the beginning, but it will give you a lot of flakiness. So I prefer writing a very simple test case, let's say not interacting more than 15 to 25 elements, because if you interact with, let's say, 100 elements to complete a test case, there are a lot of chances that your test may fail because of the flakiness. So try to have a very small test that does only one validation, and then try to remove all these reading from Excel, JSON, YAML, whatever the data files. Try to create data using API calls, or try to directly inject into the DBs, so that you can remove a lot of flakiness. Because maintaining a test data sheet itself is an effort. So in most of the frameworks that I developed, I stopped using external files to drive my tests. So API use the APIs, or directly write into DB. That's the best way how you can manage test data. And then don't try to create very complicated end-to-end tests. Rather, try and write very small tests. So that's going to help you remove the flakiness and write some effective code.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Something, but like we need the end-to-end tests. Like sometimes there is a need to
there is
check
a
the
need.
end-to-end flow. Then how to achieve?
Yes, maybe let's say if there are 100 test cases, maybe you can have 20 end-to-end tests that covers all the vanilla and basic scenarios, but you can have remaining as very small tests. That's how you can, I'm not telling this is the best way, but this is something that suited me in my previous projects, because when we have a lot of end-to-end tests, the amount of failures that we got is big. So instead of spending time on failures, you rather create 20 end-to-end tests which are reliable, and then remaining 80 test cases which covers a particular functionality. So that should be the ideal way for me.
Like, I just want to please elaborate for 2 minutes. So we have in our end-to-end test, there are 10 pages. There is first page, there is second page. You cannot directly reach to the fifth page. Then how can we create tests for the fifth page?
I think
there's only one way to go from 1 to 10.
Yeah, it is little tricky. It basically tells that your application is not really testable. Let's say it can be any application. Let's say it's an e-commerce. It can be any whatever the application. Let's say if there is an e-commerce application that takes you for 10 pages, how do you think a customer can go have the patience to go till 10 pages and then paste, do the order or purchase? So it's a little complicated, right? So we need to think about the testability and usability of the application. So I think you can do cookies injection. You can set up some test data using database or API, but there are some application where you cannot do any of these and have to rely on the end-to-end test. Yeah, you have to compromise your robustness for this. So yeah,
when you say set up test data using APIs, that means like we have to create the APIs to.
I think you should ask your developer to expose APIs. In my previous project, what I did was there are some of the APIs that were missing. So since the backend is built in Spring Boot, I went and created some of the endpoints that I need so that I can create test data and then use them. So yeah, otherwise you can request your developers to basically give you some endpoints where you can get some data or set some values.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Sarah, you can go.
Yeah, Mudan. So I have a question. So, like, I'm someone from manual background and recently cleared a couple of automation interviews after after getting trained on automation. But I still don't know the basics of Java, like what you told me, the interface or where to use a constructor. So. For such kind of things, even I have tried to go through your videos and understand. But my questions were getting increased. Doubts were getting increased as I go through your videos. So like, do you know any particular tutorial, or is there any videos which will be very helpful on these kind of very basics?
I think I have the Selenium Java course. You can watch that. But I learned a lot of my Java basics from a guy called Derek Banas. So I leave his YouTube channel name in the chats. You can also learn from him. He's a wonderful guy. He teaches real basics. So yeah, you can also follow him as well. Or let's say there is one more guy called it's Jacob Jenko. Yeah. So there is a guy called Jacob Jenko, and from where I learned exception handling skills. So yeah, these two guys are someone who I look up to, and then from whom I learned my Java. So yeah, I would suggest to even go through them.
Thanks, Samadan. One more question, the last one. So like I may be joining an automation project soon. So it's like, since I'm new to this, I'm actually a bit worried like how I can, deliver the daily, because I'm telling them that I have 3 years of experience, but I don't really, I just know the basics only. So like, is there anyone, whom you can connect for any kind of daily support where I can pay kind of?
I think I don't really recommend that, but let's say you put some efforts. Let's say for for next 1 or 2 months, you spend, if you are spending 1 hour in learning automation, spend at least 2 to 3 hours in doing it, so that you can be, let's say, very confident about what you do. So yeah, it is little bit of efforts from your side at the initial point of time, but I think you can sustain it. Okay, get help from your team. I think most of the team members nowadays are really helpful, so try to approach them, and get help from them in the initial days. I think you should be in a fine position. So automation is not rocket science, you can do it. So it's all about interacting with locators and then making them work. So don't worry about it too much.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, Satish, you can ask. If you can ask, otherwise I can ask. Satish, are you available? Hello.
I think you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Ayap Kumar. I'm working in Tech Mahindra from Canada.
Okay.
So I'm trying to apply the jobs in India, but I'm not receiving the calls from India. Whereas I'm working in Canada through work permit, closed work permit. I want to apply new jobs in India because I want to switch the company in India. Actually, my family stay at India.
Okay.
So I want to switch my job from Tech Mahindra to another company.
Yeah, I think
so,
you can do. Yeah, I think you can apply. I don't know which portals you are using. Let's say Indeed, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Nuvo Jobs, InstaHire, Hirist. There are a lot of portals. Then I think LinkedIn and referral programs. A lot of people are telling like our company is doing. So I can reach out to them and get some referrals. Let's say most of the interviews are happening via online these days, so it shouldn't be a big problem for you to get a job.
Yeah, I go through in LinkedIn portal only. There are LinkedIn direct apply, is there, right? LinkedIn easy apply option.
I think no, I think instead of directly applying in the portal, I think the best way is to find the people and ask them to refer you. It increases the chance of you getting an interview call from the company. So I would not say don't apply in the company side. That is the best way. But the even more best way is to find a referral through any of your friends or from the community. Let's say in my Telegram group, there are almost 1,300 members, and there are people always posting there are job openings available. So you can approach them, and then yeah, you can get your jobs. Again, there is a test chat, TTC Jobs Corner, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
So there are a lot of jobs being posted there. But yeah, you can also try there. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to apply, but I'm not receiving the calls. But first only they are not accepting because I'm out of location, right? I'm located at Canada. That's the major issue I'm facing.
I don't think that should be a big deal, but I think you should revisit your skill set and then see what you are lagging and what is the role that you are applying for, and then maybe that can help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, hi, Amudan. Can I go next?
Yeah, just a minute, Rahul. I think Dhanush can go now. After that, you can go.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Dhanush.
Hi, Amudan. Good evening.
Yeah.
So, like, my question is, if I want to start like automation, so should I need to go with like basic core Java, or else can I start with Selenium, like, and being parallel, I can learn like.
Yeah, that would be the best approach. Even that worked for me, because if you try to learn Java first, I think by the time you start to reach let's say interface and abstract methods, you would forget what is JVM or what is compiler doing. So the best approach is basically to study them in parallel. That's how I have catered my Selenium course in my website. So there are 7 videos, almost 7 hours of content that is available for free. You can go ahead and watch it and see if that fits your learning journey. You can purchase that and then try to learn from it.
Okay, but like I don't know, like I will be if I think like automation, I'll get scared. I don't know, but how do like get out of this like normally? So in my company, like I need to start like from scratch. So I don't have any guidelines. So I'm doing like currently manual only, but I need to start somewhere like automation. So that's why like
Yeah, I think you have to get started. Start with the Java basics. I think once you find some good rhythm, or let's say once you start to open browsers and see the magic happens, I think you will get motivated to learn even further. And that's what happened to me as well. So initially I was very hesitant in learning it, and then I was very comfortable doing manual testing. But yeah, once you test or see the magic happening, I think you will get motivated, and it'll push you to learn new things. So don't worry about it, just get started with the Java basics.
Okay, thank you so much, Madan.
Yeah, Rahul, you can go now. Yeah, thanks Anush.
Yeah, okay. So, hi Amudan, this is Rahul this side. I'm currently working for a fintech firm, right?
Okay.
And the thing is, we are using Test Project as an automation tool there. So it's, you can say that everything is bundled up there. So you do not have to do anything for that. From last couple of months, I have been story testing, that is feature testing. And I haven't got much on work expertise to work upon automation as of now. I have got some couple of cases where I am doing API testing through Postman. Your videos have greatly helped me, especially the Newman and Newman reporter, right? So we can contact the developers in their own language.
Yeah.
We do not have to share the other parts of rest assured and all.
Yeah.
And Test Project, by the way, does not even supports even API testing for that matter as of now.
Yeah.
So all of this combined, I have two questions, or I have question that is in two parts. The first one being that since I have told you that I'm not getting much exposure on automation as of now through code, right? So the question is, how can I inculcate that habit to being in the realm and doing the automation either on my own through Java and not rely upon my workspace to give me that experience. That's the first thing. Second thing is that as I'm approaching that 1 year of experience line, how can I be relevant in this industry which is constantly changing? I mean, from last 2-3 months, I have seen that there are a lot of frameworks that are coming upon. There is simple, there are data driven, then there is Test Project, then there are some by Hershey crops and whatnot. So how can I be relevant in this domain? What can I learn to be relevant?
I think very interesting questions here. So if you ask too much of questions, I forgot what you asked. So what is the first question? I forgot. I thought
okay, so
what is the first question?
First question was, how can I be relevant since I'm not getting on work experience with automation as of now?
Okay, so you're just 1 year, you're having just 1 year of experience, right?
Yeah, I'm approaching 1 year, yes.
So don't worry about it too much. So it's a very big initial stage of your career. Start to learn some programming language rather than focusing on a tool. Try to get more comfortable with any of the programming language, and then start to pick tools around that particular language. So let's say you finalize your language to be Java. Then try to learn a web automation tool, a mobile automation tool, and an API automation framework, so that you can do all these things. Then switch into CI/CD part of the things. Let's say Jenkins or GitHub Actions, or very importantly, try to learn about the Docker microservices, and yeah, these things can really help you out. So I think that's how you should. You will always be relevant. Don't worry about it, right? So if you are not relevant, industry will push you to be relevant. So you don't have to really worry about that, but try to focus on programming language. Since you told you already know about Postman, then you might have already know about API testing. So I think API automation is something that you can straight away kick up with let's say REST assured, or you can pick Unirest or any other libraries that you think. And after that, you can start with a mobile automation tool or a web automation. I think that should be a best way to go forward.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. There is one more question. What is that? I don't know. You asked two questions.
Yeah. So the first one was on this, picking up the practice of being not. I'm not
Okay.
getting.
Yeah. So if you are not getting, let's say, time to work on automation or code, you can contribute to GitHub. There are even my GitHub. There are ways you can contribute to my GitHub. You can pull the code. You can make some changes, raise a PR. or there are a lot of other open source frameworks, right? Let's say you are using Apache Poe or Data Supplier. There are a lot of TestNG is a library. JUnit is a library. Extent Report is a library. You can go and check their GitHub. Try to do something about it. Yeah, you can. Yeah, there are ways where you can contribute like this. You can. Who is this? Guys, please go on mute if you are not speaking, guys. So, yeah. So yeah, you can pick some open source frameworks and then start to look into their code first, and then slowly start to contribute towards it. Let's say you can pick Selenium as well, or TestNG, or anything, right? So you can pick some open source frameworks and start contributing. That's the best way you can learn.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah. Or yeah, Danush or Balaji, anyone.
So yeah, I just wanted to know like one question I have. So like when we switch to new companies, right? So how do you approach for like domain knowledge mainly? So like it will. I'm in like normally flight domain. So if we go to any other company like which has different domain, so how do you?
So how did you learn? What is the current domain that you're working?
How do you get? I'm working in flight domain currently. So for me, it took like 3 months to completely understand.
So you'll take another 3 months, maybe just 2 months in the next company to know about the domain. So don't worry about domain. Okay, there are people who work on different domains on different companies. So that doesn't really matter. So you can learn them. So you can, if you are not an expert, at least you will be getting some good amount of knowledge in 1 or 2 months. So don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Balaji, go ahead. I think we have little shorter time, so I'll try to answer very quickly. So yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just one question. I need some manual testing courses or any suggested YouTube channels. Can you suggest that? Because I can clear automation interview nowadays, but I'm not able to clear the manual testing part.
I think it's a very important skill that lacks. I think I never learned from any of the let's say YouTube channel or whatsoever. Most of the things are I learned from my seniors, the manual testing skills. Some I learned from developers. Let's say I am testing a mobile app. I do sit with my developers and see how they are debugging their code. Then I understand, okay, they are using ADB Logcat, and then trying to see what is the API that is being sent, what is the API being received. So these kind of things I get to know when I sit with the developers and learn from them. But I think for manual testing, I don't know really any good course on manual testing.
If possible, can you create some 2 or 3 videos about manual testing, basic concepts like what process we can follow? If
Sure,
possible,
sure, man, sure. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, Mural, you can go next.
I am.
Yeah, hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, thanks everyone for organizing this meeting, and I want to thank for all your content you have been doing. Because when I started, I mean, I have just 1 year of experience, but at the beginning, I used to go to all Naveen's video, and I used to watch every. Nowadays, I used to go through every videos from your side, So I want to thank you for first of all. So the question I was to ask is, actually I'm a 2016 passed out, and actually, I was into government exam preparations, and I spent almost 3 to 4 years into that, and then at some point I decided I have to pursue my career. And one of my friends suggested automation, and I started learning, and I got into, and I was so desperate to get a job. So I applied, and I actually got a job. And the problem was I accepted the very first thing I got, because I was that desperate, and also the 4 years break, and so I got into that. It's been almost 1 year.
Okay.
So the thing is, I joined the organization as a tester, but I also implemented automation, because there was not any. They were from a QA side. They didn't do any automation, but I introduced automation, and I did some using Cucumber and those kind of things, and they were very happy. But the problem is, I feel like the work culture, right? It's a little bit toxic. There are too much of micromanagement, and
I think if it is some problem with the work culture, I think you need to switch. That's the only way, because when I was in cities,
Yeah, the problem was I just right now I have exactly around some 1 year, 2 months experience. The only thing is I'm really scared, or I would say that whether I might be getting opportunities. If I drop my papers, and I also have 90 days of notice period, so that's what bugging me a lot.
Okay, so it's very tricky. Let's say you think uh, you are not sure whether you can find a new job, then I think you should stay there. Bite the toxic culture for some time, like maybe three months or 6 months. It was like that for everyone. You ask anyone in this particular call. I have really bad experience during my first 3 to 4 years, and it all needed to be there. So in your initial days, if you learn all these things, I think going if after 2 or 3 years, it will definitely help you, right?
Thanks,
So,
man.
so don't worry about it. I think if you are not confident about switching jobs, stay there for 3 to 6 months. Improve your coding skills. Pick up new tools, programming language, get very comfortable with it. CI/CD tool, and then try to make your next move or next jump with a very good package. And then,
Thank you, man. Thank you, and keep up with all the good work. Thank you.
No problem, man. Ilyas, Zoom user, you can ask now. I don't know, could have used a different name.
Yeah, hi, this is Abhijit. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just want to know, like there are different types of builder patterns, and some of the things you have shown, like factory or builder pattern. I mean, design pattern I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are different types of patterns, right? And where we can, where do you follow who for those things? I mean, I don't see any test automation, folks which are showing any right direction on the builder pattern, and also the solid principles we're talking about, right? If you are have experience of 8 years or something, like you or ASDEC, where we have to implement framework, and we should know all these solid principles and the builder pattern to build a framework.
Yeah.
So just need a suggestion on this.
I think I have already a playlist on builder pattern. Sorry, the design patterns. I've covered some patterns and then I just left it midway. But I think I will complete it. I have a lot of use cases now where we can use design patterns. But there is one course from Vinod Selvaraj in Udemy. You can purchase that where he covers real the design patterns in test automation. But I think apart from that, you should watch design patterns videos from Derek Manas. I think he will cover only in terms of how to use it in Java, but design patterns has to be let's say you have to get a lot of experience while using the design patterns. You have to see whether it is really needed to use a design pattern here, and then you need to use it. It takes a little bit of time, so don't rush towards it. I think a good starting place would be a design pattern course from Vinod Selvaraj in Udemy.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Got it. And anything about the solid principles, like we should be implementing to make it a good framework, right? So any direction on this?
Yeah, I think I have now. I'm just releasing videos on single framework for web, mobile, and API now. So in that, I am covering all these solid principles. Though I am not explicitly telling where it is, but I will make a video on where I have used these solid principles and how this make my code really good. So yeah, I'll make a video on that.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for your support.
Yeah. Again, if you don't find a video in test automation, go and search it in Java. If you don't find it in Java, try to learn it from other language. So don't restrict yourself to learn from only test automation people. So yeah, always try to look for some Java guys to help you out. Yeah, Ilyas and Satish, very quickly you can ask me questions. So
just a small question. Yeah, so initially, slowly the testing jobs has been booming again. So initially we had an opportunity. So is there any opportunity to get a job abroad? Like, so initially previously we had a Stack Overflow, so in that we were able to attend the international jobs. So they had been shut down that. So do you have any options like
I think
to get a job?
LinkedIn is the best way where you can find a lot of jobs from Europe market or UK. There are a lot of a lot of companies, a lot of startups been hiring from Europe, or let's say Singapore, or let's say Australia. There are a lot of people are hiring from there. But let's say if your intention is to earn big, I think startups in Bengaluru and Chennai are paying better than most of the countries. So I think you need to tap those salaries rather than trying to move to Europe or other countries. So if you are interested to move to abroad, then you can find jobs in LinkedIn. But again, there are a lot of startups in Bangalore that pay really good salaries in Bangalore and Chennai. So you can explore that.
Okay. Well, and one more regarding the quick. So, do we need to optimize the CV regarding the rather less the company, sorry, country which we are applying for, or is like we can have a standard CV format?
I think CV format doesn't really matter. The skill sets are really important. Let's say you are applying for Europe-based organization. They prefer having a Microsoft Azure knowledge. Let's say you are applying for US, or then they will prefer to have AWS knowledge. So it depends. Let's say you are applying for US market test automation, then they might expect you to have Espresso and XUI test for mobile automation. So there are little tricks and that you can easily find out. If, let's say you go to any US job portal or European job portal, and then you can search with SDET and then find popular jobs. You can see what are the skill sets they are looking for. Try to have those skill sets before even applying for the job. So that's the first necessity that you have to tick before even trying to apply your resume. I think resume format doesn't really matter. So 1 or 2 page resume with all the details, what are your important skill sets and what you have accomplished, that should be more than enough.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, Satish. Yeah, quick.
Hi, Amudan. I just wanted to ask about the static and when we go for the parallel execution, right? So when we have a static reference, we get problems with that, right?
Yeah, but we can have so that's a very we can have thread local. Let's say if the static variable is being read and written by threads, multiple threads. But if it is only read by different threads, I don't think there is any parallel execution problem. So I have covered that in a thread local video, so you can watch that.
Yeah, actually I watched that.
Okay.
So actually I have a doubt, if I have multiple classes, so should we need to create multiple thread locals, or is there any way to manage it?
I think you can ping me in the group, in the Telegram group, about what you are trying to do and what is the problem. We can solve that better with a screenshot or much better context. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Zoom user and Redmi user, anyone can go ahead.
Hi, Amudan. I'm coming again. I have two questions. So my total experience into QA is more than 5 years.
Okay.
And what the thing is that bugs me is whenever the manager or the client asks about the ROI, what is your automation ROI? And the fact is that I have been into automation for more than 4.5 years, and still I have not been able to find, or the framework or the design is not able to find as many bugs as the manual testers do. So what exactly is the purpose of automation that we have to describe to them, or what exactly should we answer to such a question like ROI is not coming or something like that? And
I think yeah, well, let me answer this, otherwise I'll forget. Okay, so let's say you have been asked to provide ROI. I think it happens only in service-based companies, and even in products or startups, they don't have time to do all this. If you have to analyze why you cannot provide any reasonable ROIs, or if you think only finding bugs is the let's say is the motto of automation, I think that is wrong. I think you need to check how you have written your test, whether it is end to end, whether you have covered all the important scenarios. I think automation regression should be seen as a guarantee to move your test to production, and not just a tool to find defects. So yeah, I'm not saying the automation will not find defects, but it should rather be seen a different way. Yeah, so yeah, go ahead with the next question.
Yes, and the other question is I have in our organization, they have a DevOps team who set up all the Jenkins thing or something like that. So for example, when we execute a test on our build job on the Jenkins, it automatically triggers the EC2 instance temporarily until the build is running, and after that it closes the EC2 instance. Whenever we try to give it on the interview, like we do this thing, but they ask, do you know the exact process? So any resources?
Yeah, you can learn about it. It's a very easy thing. Let's say you need to know about IAM. You need to know about what is EC2, EC2 Fleet plugin in Jenkins. So there are only 4 or 5 moving parts that you need to know about, and then you should be in a fine position to explain it. So I think you don't have to necessarily learn from test automation perspective. I think you should definitely find some blogs online. If not, try to learn from any video resource about what is IOM, what is EC2, what is Jenkins EC2 plugin. You can learn about it. So I think draft what you want to achieve, put it in a notepad, and then learn one by one, and then try to you try to create some. Let's say I'm creating a video. It's not everything will be available online. So first I need to find a problem statement. I need to see how I need to solve this. What is the effective way to solve this? Then I need to think about how should I explain this to others. So there are a lot of things that I put as a form of checklist. You can also do that way. So what you want to achieve, what you want to learn, how can I going to learn, all these things. What are the resources that I'm going to refer? So you put a simple checklist that can give you clear idea where you're heading and what you want to do.
Yes, that's great. Thanks so much for the answer.
Yeah, thank you. Zumi sir, I think last question from you. I think we can wrap after that. I think there is more question from Zoom user. I think we can then wrap the session. If anyone have any final questions before we wrap?
Yes, Samut, one last question.
Okay.
So in my project, we are working the Gradle project, Gradle build project. So we are facing issue with the ACCP pipeline with the Gradle integration.
What is ACCP pipeline?
Means Jenkins job execution through Gradle build.
Okay.
Invoking the Gradle script, Gradle source code, Gradle build.
Okay.
So in Jenkins job, it is not working properly. So means the post build actions not able to trigger the email once successfully completion the job execution. The post build action is the email configuration is there, right? That one is not working.
I think there should be enough materials online for this, because Gradle is one of the most popular build tools, and integration with Jenkins should be flawless. So if you have any screenshots, you can ask it in the group so that I can get to know what context you are asking and all that. So yeah, maybe a more detailed information in a form of message would help me to help you, right? Yeah. Natarajan and Padmavati, anyone can go ahead next.
Yeah, just a normal question. Like, I wanted to have a mock session with you, like mock interview session.
Yeah.
So, just want to know like how to reach you out, and just want to know like you said about the product-based companies in Chennai as well, right? Like startup.
Yeah.
So can you give an information on that?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of information available online. There is pick up all the startups. Socure is there, and then ChargeBee is there. You have a lot of other startups. Techion Corp is there. We have Caterpillar. A lot of other companies, startup companies are here as well. So I don't remember all of them by heart, but a lot of companies are there, so you can find out. Yeah.
And how to reach out to you for mock interviews?
Yeah, just ping me in Telegram. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Telegram or LinkedIn, whatever. Yeah. Last question from the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Amudan.
Hey.
So it's really nice to be with you all people, and it seems like this kind of sessions need to be conducted. So at least we will come back to our basics if we forget that. So my question here is, recently when I attempted an interview, so they were very keen about estimations on Agile, like when we are automating, right?
Yeah.
So how do you estimate your stories, like how many scripts you can do and all that? So I just gave them like maybe it is like Fibonacci series or something like that, but I didn't feel so happy with my answer. So what can be the best answer for that? Like how we can estimate the things, and we should have some buffer time also to see how that is done. Some dry run also will be there, right? How we can give
I think it is a pretty difficult question. So unless we see what is the application under test, what kind of scenarios we're going to automate, whether they are interacting with what let's say if there is a web application, whether we have uh, all the endpoints to interact with, or what is the web application built of? Is it a single page application? Is it using React in the backend, or it is built using PHP? We need to know all these things, right? And then we need to understand how the flow is, whether we can interact with the database. We have all this information in hand. So what is the skill set of the team? How comfortable are they in using the automation tools? So all these are a lot of moving parts, right? So we cannot really give an number without knowing all these things. So if they're asking in the interview, I think it's very lame, uh, uh, because I can quote some tools, or let's say I use some agile words, and then I can tell, like, I can estimate based on that. But practically there are a lot of moving parts. We need to know all that, and then the amount of time that we spent on automation, because we have to spend on our time on manual as well. So yeah, very difficult to estimate without knowing all these factors. So if someone is asking all this, I would definitely tell them I need to know all these things before I give an estimate about it.
Yes, Anand, thanks. So that makes great sense.
Yeah. I think that's all. I think we can wrap the session for today. We'll connect maybe sometime later next month. Thanks everyone for joining. I think it's a very productive Sunday evening for me. I hope it is for you as well. So you all can enjoy the Sunday night and then get back to office tomorrow. See you all. Bye.
Yep. Thank you. Bye.